Well, what do you suppose could possibly be in this box of comic books? I have no idea, but it is my job to get those books out of the box and to grade them so that they can be sold on eBay. So I'm glad you're here. I've been waiting for you, and now we can go through these books together and see what we've got to work with today. So if you like comic books, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Hey there, Bobby. Welcome to Shanghalla. My name is Duke, and this is an unboxing video. And it's been a minute. I haven't filmed one of these videos in a week or so. I mean, not that I haven't been working. I've been, I don't film every box that I open, and I've also been busy building the mystery box sets that we will be selling soon, going live, scheduled for October 1st. Might even be live already by the time I upload this video. And those are Halloween mystery boxes. Those are available at sellmycomicbooks.com/mystery. So if you support this channel, please go buy a mystery box. That keeps the company in business, keeps me in a job, keeps me continuing to do these videos. So there's your commercial for the day. I don't know how far we're going to get into this box. We'll probably only do about half the box in the video. This is kind of a long, short box. Comic book boxes, the short ones don't seem to come in, a standard size. Long boxes are all the same, but the short ones come in a variety of lengths. And this is kind of a short, long box. What would you call that? A schlong? I'm just thinking, come home from work and I'm all tired. No, honey, why are you so tired? Oh, it's been a long day lugging schlongs. I've been carrying schlongs and picking up schlongs, just working with schlongs. So, what do you prefer? Do you prefer schlongs, or do you prefer regular long boxes? I over the past few years, I've been slowly converting from long boxes over to short boxes. But again, it is frustrating because they come in a variety of lengths, the short boxes. So as I line them up along the wall, they all stick out at kind of different lengths. So, it's a little annoying. There should be a standard. Damn it, there should be a standard. But well, it's just the way it is, I guess. But hey, let's not waste any time. Please do like, share, subscribe, do all the groovy things, comment away, and let's get right to it. Let's see what we've got today, what we've got to work with. And right off the bat, we've got a popular book, a hot book. Those who are invested in investing. It's early. I'm not quite with it yet. Not that I ever am truly, but yeah, those who are all about the hot books and whatnot. This one isn't as hot as it used to be, but this is the first appearance of Jubilee, Uncanny X-Men number 244. I've always hated this cover myself. It just looks like, the initial thumbnail sketch that somebody would do, before they sat down to actually draw the final actual cover. So I've never thought that is a good cover. It's just a shame. It's a shame to mar her first appearance with such a crappy cover. This is a good cover. Cyclops looking all sad and walking away, quitting the X-Men. He would be back. He's probably quit about 30 times since then, but at the time, it was a big deal. And seeing all these covers in the background was a big deal. I remember when this book came out, I was maybe, 12 or 13, and I was like, like Shuri with the sneakers. I was like, what are those? So, yeah, and of course, I always wanted to win the Toys R Us shopping spree, even though, here in Maine, we didn't have a Toys R Us store at that time, but just the name of it was like enough to make me travel however far I would need to get to an actual Toys R Us store should I win. I didn't. Bwana Beast, what do you think of that? Hey, Bwana. I remember the Jungle movies they used to show on the Great Money Movie Channel 2, WLBZ in Central Maine. They would show public domain movies in the afternoons, And you always had the natives referring to the leader of the safari, you know, "Oh, Bwana, me scared Bwana, gorilla scary Bwana." um, and that's racist. So there you go. But nothing says late Silver Age more than Bwana Beast and Go-Go Checks. Aquaman, who destroys the Sea King? Well, sales will get him eventually. And not too much longer after this. Only lasted, what, 4 issues? I forget. But look at this. You've got Black Manta and Ocean Master together in one glorious three-way. Power Girl, hooray! There's the famous boob window with boobs as big as her head. But I don't know. You know, the boob window can be effective even without these being, you know, watermelon size. Sometimes subtlety is more sexier than just the blatant, you know, here they are. But anyway, I don't know how much that book goes for. Obviously, we think we're going to get at least $10 for it. That's why the boss put it in this box when he was sorting collections that we purchased that come into the office in Freeport, Maine, and sorts them into various sales streams. Rather, they're going to go to CGC. So we don't think we're going to get $100 for this. Otherwise, it would have gone to CGC and would get sold on Comic Link. We don't think it's going to go for less than $10. Otherwise, it would go in a multi-book lot on eBay. We think we're going to get at least $10 for that. So that's why it is scheduled to be sold as a raw single on eBay, a one-book lot. And it's my job to put a grade on it, and I bet you it's going to be at least a 9.4. So there you go. Justice League of America, number 8. The Justice League for sale. This one's kind of grody. I don't know if we'll get $10 for that. Would you pay $10 for that with all this water damage here? I don't know. If it were now, don't let me stop you. You buy what you want to buy. If it were me, I would probably wait for a better example. But there's money to be made in lowball books. You know, you might be able to get this for, $10, clean it up a little bit, and flip it for $20, depending, where you are. Somebody might be willing to pay a lot for that just because they don't want to wait to find a better condition copy. And they don't come along every day. I mean, I've been doing this for, 3 or 4 years now, and I've only probably seen this particular issue come across my desk 6 or 7 times. So, there you go. This one's a little rough too. You can see we've got a near complete spine split here. Might even be complete. This one, this one's probably will go for a little more, even with that spine damage, just because this is all fairly clean. You got all the beakers here. It looks like Superman, Batman, and Ja'ons. How do you say it? I always, as a kid, I always pronounced his name with the hyphens almost as like a stutter. I know it's supposed to sound like John Jones, but I always said it Ja'ons. So, anyway. Ooh, first appearance of Dr. Light. Now, this is nice. This will go for quite a bit. And this, I'm almost surprised we didn't send to CGC, because that looks like, at least in the bag, pretty decent copy. That's probably a 5, 4, 5, 5 maybe. Sweet. And, of course, Dr. Light was not always the joke that he was later portrayed as. He was an actual, legitimate, formidable villain. Even though he used a disco ball as a weapon. First appearance of the Tornado Tyrant, and this one took off years ago when it was revealed that the entity that gives life to Red Tornado is actually the Tornado Tyrant. And then this book kind of, it kind of languished. I won't say languished. I mean, it went, comparable to issues in its era of Justice League, but for a bit there it took off when that revelation was made. That kind of retcon, a positive retcon. Some retcons are not good. You retroactive continuity, and they change everything, and everything you knew was wrong. But that revelation just sort of added an extra wrinkle to the story. that, as it had developed across the decades, didn't invalidate anything. So yeah, that one took off, but now it's kind of come back down to, again, being comparable to issues on either side, 16, 18, whatever. This one's a classic. The appearance of the Justice Society of America back after 12 years. Can you imagine that? It seems like such a big deal, the Justice Society coming back, and it had been 12 years since these characters had appeared in comic books. And you think back now, and 12 years is just, what, 1990, No, not 1990, 2010. That's how recently, 12 years ago seems like, that I'm going all the way back to the 90s. Just to make it seem like 12 years. But can you imagine, a character coming back from 2010 and everyone making a big deal about it? So, anyway. But back at this time, when as conventional wisdom went, comic book readership turned over completely every 3 to 5 years. Kids would come along, read comic books for a few years, discover girls or boys, as it might be, or the same sex, that whatever, not that there's anything wrong with that, and outgrow comic books. And so, yeah, 12 years, that was 3, 5, 6 generations of comic book readers. It had been a while. But these days, where it's just aging fanboys like you and me, and fangirls occasionally, 12 years ain't nothing. All right, beat that one up. Despero. Gotta love some Despero action. So that's nice. Here is the second Justice League Justice Society team up. And these were all two-parters, and that was something that made them special as well back in the day. Back when, every issue was a complete story and you would get a two-parter, to be continued in the next issue. That was kind of a big deal. So that made them seem very special. These days, my God, you get a story done in 2 issues, and people will be like, "What the heck? I'm supposed to have 6, 7, 8 issues, half a year invested into this thing," which to me is exactly the wrong direction for comic books. But nobody listens to me. This is a book that was originally sold in Great Britain somewhere. That's what this stamp is. 9, the D, I think, stands for pence. Even though it's like an upside down P. I don't know why it's a D instead of a P, but I think that is pence. Some of if you're English or Irish or Great British, Welsh, Walish, you tell me why a D is a symbol for pence. I don't know. But anyway, there's another JLA JSA team up for you. Here is Brainwave, number 32, Attack of the Starbolt Warrior. Got a lot of Justice Leagues. This is a cool box. Yet again, another Justice League Justice Society team up. I think this one was the first appearance of Mr. Terrific since the Golden Age. The others had already appeared and been revived, but and it's funny that Mr. Terrific is one of the characters, maybe just because his name seemed kind of silly at that time. But I think there was also a Mr. Terrific television show. Didn't have anything to do with the character, but there were 2 kind of comic book parody shows that appeared. This might be a little before that. I think those came out kind of in tune with the camp craze of the Batman TV show. I think it was Mr. Terrific, and there was one called Captain Nice. I think Captain Nice starred William Daniels, who, depending on your age, you might know as John Adams from the film 1776, the Broadway show, or you might know him as, not Saved by the Bell. What is the other one? Was it Saved by the Bell? No, Boy Meets World. One of those types of shows he was in. But anyway, I kind of got off on the woolly wax on that, didn't I? But, they never revived Mr. Terrific, and you got to wonder why. Of course, Dr. Fate never got a revival either. Pretty much, once they introduced the concept of Earth 2, they stopped reviving the characters. For some reason, they stopped, making Earth 1 versions, modern versions. That sort of threw a wrench in the spanner, as it were. Here's another one, and this one features the Lawless League of Earth A. You never saw Earth A much after that, but it was kind of like an Earth 3. Villainous characters, versions of the Justice Leaguers. You could tell this was the evil Batman because he had facial hair. No goatee, but any facial hair at all. See, he's got a mustache, the Flash does. Yeah, neat. Neat. All right, we'll keep on trucking. Keep on trucking. An 80-page giant. That's nice. Justice League of America 39. Reprinting some early stories, including the first one. The Key. Now that is a legitimate key issue. It's, you know, the little investors these days and all their YouTube channels and using their websites like Key Collector, they want to call everything a key issue. Anything to call it a key issue. Call it low print run. Well, damn it, everything's got a low print run these days. But, you know, the first appearance of any minor character, oh, it's a key issue. It's a key issue. No, a key issue has to be fairly significant, and I would say that the first appearance of the Key is, in fact, a key issue. So there you go. Metamorpho says no, and there is some debate over whether Metamorpho turned them down cold or did in fact become a reserve member of the Justice League. There are differing opinions on that. Not that it really matters at this point, but anyway. The Shaggy Man. Gotta love the Shaggy Man. Go-Go Checks. Yep. Now, this is obviously in the middle of the Batman TV craze with the Pow Sock Thud. That was definitely meant to attract the attention of Batman TV fans. And did it work? I don't know. Some more JLA JSA goodness. Gotta love that. Number 47. Here's another 80-page giant of reprints. Number 48. Felix Faust making an appearance. This one was issue number 50. The Lord of Time. Very nice. With Robin making a rare appearance with the Justice League. He would always appear with his Super Friends, but less often with the Justice League. And speaking of Robin, here he is all grown up. That's the first appearance of Robin as an adult from Earth 2. And the costume is a little weird. They would do a better job with subsequent versions of this costume. But this is basically just the Batman costume with Robin's cape and a different symbol. But I don't know if this would, this symbol here would strike fear into the coward and superstitious lot. And here's a social relevance issue. UN, we believe everybody love everybody. Okay, not a problem. 80-page giant, number 58. And here's a Flash 80-page giant, and this one is an actual issue of the 80-page giant. 80-page giant was its own series that lasted about 15 issues, and then after that they converted the format over to issues of the regular title. So all the titles got their own 80-page giants at some point, but it was a standalone series to begin with. There you are. So let's take a look and see what we've got in the next stack. And we're cooking with some more Silver Age DC goodness. The Flash Annual, the one and only. And the annuals at this time served kind of the same purpose as these 80-page giants. Similar format, and they were all kind of reprints of earlier stories. And, you could do that back then. Back when, stories were standalone, you reprint one. These days, you couldn't really have a reprint series of fairly recent stories, anything more recent than the mid-70s anyway, just because, you could have an 80-page book like that and still not still not print an entire story from start to finish, just because, they go 6, 8, 7, 10 issues. You don't just have continuing subplots, but with decompression, the whole thing carries over. So you couldn't do a thing like that today. This during the mid-70s, they had the 100-page super spectaculars, not an 80-page giant, but a 100-page super spectacular. And 60 cents was a fair amount of money at the time, but these would have a new story backed up by the reprints. So slightly different, variation on a theme here. Instead of all reprints, they try to hook you with one new story anyway. And so there's the Rag Doll. And here's another one. That's Flash number 232. Here is, as we said, the 80-page giants became incorporated into the regular numbering of various books. Here's Flash 169, Flash 178, 187, and what is this? 205. Nice. Nice stuff. There's a super spectacular 214. I love how Platinum gets called out. Like, like, who the hell's the Platinum? Oh, Mercury does too. And here's now this one is different. DC 100-page super spectacular, like 80-page giant, was its own series, which had its own numbering. And not all consecutive. Some of these, I think there might have been some missing issues, like DC 22. There may not have been a DC 21, and I don't know why they did like the DC incorporated into the numbering instead of just 22, 21. I don't know. It's some kind of in-house thing, I guess. But yeah, so some people get confused. They're like, they don't know. Is this a part of the regular Flash title, or is it a 100-page super spectacular? What is it? Well, you have to look to the indicia. And people pronounce it all different ways. I've always said indicia. I've heard people say indicia, but it's a word you don't hear much outside of comic books. But it's this publishing information, usually found either at the bottom of the first page or the bottom of the front cover. These days, comics do it like at the back. It's like on the back page. But see, this is 100-page super spectacular. That's the actual title. Well, much like the 4-color series from Dell, in this case, the official title in the indicia is technically the official title. But all right, it's Flash number 135. Nice Silver Age. And now we're really going to turn the corner here, and we're right into the modern age. Or this would be, how do you divide the modern age? A lot of people, everything since bronze, they just call them modern, even though bronze was, the 70s. From bronze, I go copper age, which is roughly the 80s. The chrome age, which is roughly the 90s. And then the diamond age, which is roughly, the 2000s, from about when Diamond became the sole distributor. And then the digital age, from when books started to be available digitally. And you would have exclusive, first-run digital titles. And now that distribution is changing again, we're probably on the cusp of a new age. But what are we going to call it? So everything post-COVID is we got to figure out a name for it and figure out what sort of the zeitgeist, the driving force of that is going to be, so that we can kind of glom into a name. But anyway, X-Force number 11, this is probably then a Chrome Age book. This would be 90s. And that's the first appearance of Domino, the first actual appearance, much like Valkyrie, who first appeared as somebody else in disguise as her before her first official appearance. Kind of the same way with Domino. Someone was disguised as her, and I forget who, and then she finally made her actual appearance. Oh, cool. Sorry, as a Legion fan, I get excited. Do we have... Oh, we're going to have a bunch of them. Oh, nice. 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 All right. Well, sorry to get excited on you there. So this is Adventure Comics number 306, First appearance of the Legion of Superheroes. And here at the beginning, the Legion started their run in Adventure Comics 300. They started out as the backup feature, replacing the Tales of Bizarro World feature. And pretty quickly, their popularity, they overtook Superboy. They became the lead feature. And then Superboy just appeared in backups, and they would actually call those Hall of Fame classics or something like that. A lot of them would be reprints. And then eventually they just took over the book entirely. But anyway, at this point, they're still the backup feature, so they didn't always get the cover. And this is the first appearance of the Legion of Substitute Heroes. Well, it says Polar Lad, but it's Polar Boy. They would screw up sometimes, these early issues. There's one famous story. The Legion stories would always feature a roll call, not necessarily headshots, but just like a little scroll with the name of all the characters appearing in that story. And there's one where they refer to Bouncing Girl. But anyway, it's Polar Boy, but here on the cover it says Polar Lad, Night Girl, Stone Boy, and the Colorful Kid. So even early on, Stone Boy couldn't get any love. Doesn't get listed at all. Poor guy. This is 308, so the return of a Lightning Lad, which was actually, at this point, Lightning Lad was dead. He had been killed. And, there are some people who question whether that was sort of comics' first continuing subplot, the saga of Lightning Lad, because he died, and they would come back and continually refer to him, and eventually he would be brought back to life. And there's a question of whether that was always the intention from the beginning, or rather the creators were reacting to the fan letters and decided to bring him back, or if because they kept referring to him having died and doing things like this story where his sister makes an appearance. And this is the first appearance of Lightning Lass, who for many years, when I was a kid, in fact, she would be Light Lass, not Lightning with the power to hurl lightning bolts, but Light Lass with the power of nullifying gravity. But yeah, so there's some question as to whether it was intended from the beginning that they were always going to bring him back and it was a continuing subplot, or if it just sort of developed as it were. But anyway, that is the first appearance of Lightning Lass. 309. Here we've got the Legion of Super Monsters makes its first appearance with the Earthquake Beast and the Mirror Monster, Omnibeast, and the Driller. What's this? Adventure Comics 310. And I don't know if I can remember what this is. I think this is another Substitute Legion story. The Substitute Legion, after their first appearance, they made several appearances as sort of the B team. And the whole theme of anybody can be special no matter how silly or useless their superpower. And those were mostly written by Jerry Siegel, which sort of, a lot of them were written by Edmund Hamilton too. But certainly that would be a theme of Jerry Siegel's work. This is definitely a Substitute Legion appearance, and here they battle the Legion. And this was actually the first appearance of Starboy after a long time. They had introduced Starboy, and like in a single panel of his first story, they reference him being a member of the Legion of Superheroes. And this is like a couple of years later, after the Legion had begun appearing in Adventure Comics, had their own series. Readers wrote in and were like, what about Starboy? How come you're featuring all these members of the Legion of Superheroes and whatever happened to him? So they brought him back, and I think he just appears on the cover here, and then pretty soon he would come back. But the interesting thing is when they brought him back, kind of without any explanation, they changed his powers. Originally, he had all the powers of Superboy, plus he had electrical vision, and he could see through lead. Copper was his weakness as far as his X-ray vision. But when they brought him back, he was sort of the opposite of Lightning Lass. His power was to increase gravity, or to increase mass, however scientific you want to be. Here's the issue. This is a great classic cover. This is the issue where Lightning Lad does indeed come back to life. And so that's a great story. It's a little Silver Age hokiness to it, yes, but it is a great story and just a classic cover. That is a great, great cover. Adventure Comics 312. Adventure Comics 313. I believe that's an early issue done by Kurt Swan. A lot of the early issues, the artist was John Fort. Some people say Forte. It does have an E on the end, but I believe it is pronounced Fort. But this was done by Kurt Swan, and this was probably because this was an appearance of Supergirl, who didn't appear all that often with the Legion, although she also was a member in addition to Superboy. And here they have the Crimson Virus or Yorgian Fever or something. This is a kind of a specialty of Edmund Hamilton, the space opera. This is an issue where Sunboy gets space sickness, had too many space missions, and got a little loopy, and tried to take over the Legion, exiled some of the members into space. So that's Adventure Comics 318. Now we've skipped ahead quite a bit. We're up to Adventure Comics number 340, the first appearance of Computo the Conqueror. And this one is interesting. Here is part of this story, and this is, again, another kind of trope of Jerry Siegel, Superman co-creator Jerry Siegel, who wrote this story, would often refer back to the main DCU, more so than Edmund Hamilton would in his Legion stories. But in this story, the Legion discovers the Batcave. They unseal the Batcave, looking for weapons with which to defeat Computo. And this is one where a Legionnaire dies permanently. This is the death of one of Triplicate Girl's many bodies. And, well, not many. She had 3. That's why they called her Triplicate Girl. These days, she's Duplicate Girl and can she's kind of like Multiple Man. She can make, unlimited duplicates of herself. But in the beginning, she only had 3 bodies. But after this, she only had 2, and she became Duo-Damsel. And the remains of that 3rd body were interred on the asteroid cemetery Shanghalla, the resting place of the greatest superheroes from across the galaxy. And Shanghalla, after which this channel is named, makes its first appearance here in Adventure Comics number 341. So, if you're a fan of this channel and you want to get the very first appearance of Shanghalla in the comic books, you need to get Adventure Comics number 341. And that's a fairly nice conditioned copy of that issue. So there you go. If bidding for this issue takes off and this one goes through the roof, I'll know that it's you, the fans of this channel, who are competing for that. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. 337. Oh, now we're working backwards a little bit. They weren't quite in order in this box. This is The Weddings That Wrecked the Legion. And as the rules went, if you got married... Now, the Legionnaires were supposed to be teenagers. So these are teens getting married. But again, it's kind of fantasy, wish fulfillment of the young readers of the time. And, kids would always play pretend and, play getting married. So even though these are teenagers, they're getting married. But the rules were, if you got married, you couldn't be a member of the Legion anymore. So that's why... and these things are stupid. These wands with their figures on them, I don't know. I don't know. It's just dumb. This is cool. This is Adventure Comics 346. This was my first issue of the... well, no, I take that back. In I think a DC Special number 3 was a reprinted Silver Age story of the Legion. So I had read that. But this one, and obviously not this actual copy, but this was the first Silver Age issue of Adventure Comics that I physically owned. I was in junior high when I traded some comic books for another stack that included this. And this is the first appearance of Karate Kid, Princess Projectra, Pharaoh Lad, and Nemesis Kid. So you got 4 first appearances in this. That makes that a Quattro key. That's a super double extra special key issue. But this is also the first published story by Jim Shooter. It's not the first one he wrote. By his own tales and retellings, he wrote another story first and submitted, and was asked to submit another one, and submitted a 2-parter with his second submission, and that was this 2-parter here that featured the first appearance of these 4 characters. And as he tells it, he introduced Karate Kid because most most of the Legion had, point and shoot powers, magnetic powers or lightning powers. You just kind of pointed something and, your magnetism or your lightning shot out. So it was an effort to kind of introduce some physicality into the Legion. So that was the reason for Karate Kid. But then Keith Giffen would come along, who hated Karate Kid and would take great joy in killing Karate Kid as often as he could. But anyway, this key issue, 4 first appearances, and it's the first issue written by Jim Shooter, who was only, I think, 14 years old at the time. So that's pretty cool and special. And here's the second part, where spoiler, Nemesis Kid is revealed to be a traitor. They think it's Karate Kid, but it turns out to be Nemesis Kid. Oh, these issues are also the first appearance of the Kuns, or the Kuns, however you want to pronounce it, who appeared first. People say that they were just ripped off from the Klingons, but the Kuns appeared before the Klingons. They would later grow to look much like the Klingons, would look more Klingon-y, if Klingon-y is a word. The Kuns would look more Klingon-y as well. Now, this is the actual first story that Jim Shooter wrote. This is Adventure Comics number 348. And Northgate Comics, Chris, did a video several months ago of a lawn sale find, and I was going to do sort of a review of his video because it was a bunch of Legion comics, and he wasn't, his own admission, he wasn't familiar with the Legion, but bought them because they were available, and he thought, well, this is neat. But he as he said in the video, he had no idea, what any of the books were and how they fit together. And this was in there, and I was going to do a video, and I took a couple stabs at actually doing it, and it ended up being way too long. I was like 45 minutes and only about halfway through explaining all of the different Legion issues he got and where they fit into the continuity overall. But anyway, he had this issue, so Chris, if you're watching and you haven't figured it out on your own by now, this issue is special because this is the first one that Jim Shooter wrote. As I noted just a moment ago, he wrote an issue and submitted it, was invited to submit another one, and he submitted this two-parter. So this was published first, but this is actually the first story that he actually wrote. And again, he's only 14 years old at the time. And the other interesting thing about this is that he actually, of course, being 14 and living in Pittsburgh, not knowing anything about the publishing industry of comic books, really didn't know what a script was, didn't know how to write a comic book, and so he made his own comic book and sent in, and he drew it out. He actually drew all the panels and did the lettering in the panels, and so his first few scripts, the artist actually followed his drawings pretty closely. And in this one, it's almost like, it's not traced because he did them at the published size. Again, didn't know that the books were produced at a larger size, and then shrunk down for printing. Anyway, the art in this is fairly neat. And also in these issues, the art is, again, those are Jim Shooter's layouts. That's what he drew. Pretty much. They followed his drawings pretty closely. So anyway, that's the first comic book story written, not the first one published, but the first one written by Jim Shooter. And then also Invisible Kid is revealed to be the new Legion leader in this story. And this is also the first appearance of Dr. Regulus. So again, talk about key issues. This one is definitely a key issue. You've got a first appearance, you got a new leader, you got a new creator. First appearance by an industry giant, not just by actual physical height, but also, stature within the industry as well. This is the first appearance of Universo, so that is a key issue. Universo and also Ron Divider, his son, who would become an honorary member of the Legion. So that's a cool issue. And this is Kurt Swan on the art on this. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is a kind of a filler story. This one is by E. Nelson Bridwell, who was an assistant editor at DC. He is reputed to be kind of the first fanboy to break into the industry as a professional. And so in between, the regular artist, John Fort, had passed away, and Siegel was kind of on the outs, and I think Hamilton was retiring as well. And Siegel was on the outs because he was clamoring again for rights to the Superman character. So Shooter submitted his story just when the editor, Mort Weisinger, was really in need of a writer. And of course also an artist, because Fort had passed away. So this is a 2-issue story, issue 350 and 351 by Bridwell, which sort of bridges the gap, although a couple of Shooter stories had already been published, several in fact. While they were kind of getting Shooter straightened out, Bridwell stepped in and did this story, which sort of reset everything. A lot of changes were undone. Matter Eater Lad and Bouncing Boy had both been drummed out of the Legion for various reasons. They were brought back. Lightning Lad, who had had a robot arm for a long time, got his regular arm back. What else happened? And this is also the first appearance of Surprise and Mysterious. Get it? Surprise, Mysterious. Oh, and that was the other thing that it did. Those two characters were actually Starboy and Dream Girl in disguise, former members who'd been drummed out of the Legion in different stories, and they got back into the Legion in this. So this sort of reset everything for Shooter to move forward. And I think we're done with Legion stories. And some of you are probably like, "Well, thank God." But I think we'll end it here. We won't get all the way through this schlong. So come back next time when we will take a look at the other half of this schlong. And until then, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.